programmed your brain. We programmed your brain.
I will make you understand.
All right, let's get this show back on the road, shall we? Watching my video yesterday after, a night of sleep, having some drinks, and seeing how I was, the state of mind that I was in, and then obviously waking up this morning and feeling the way I did. I'd say that now is just as good a day as any for me to reset and get my shiznit together. I'm a victim of only myself, no one else, and my current situation, monetary situation, as much as the old me and my childhood and whatever the fuck wants to believe that, it's not my fault. I know what it is, like deep down I know it is, but like surface shit or whatever, it's like I try to sell myself that it's not my fault. And that, somehow I should just luckily get bailed out of the situation. Not luckily, but, say landing some glorious, $40,000 salary position somewhere in sales, whatever, I don't know. That, boom, I'm gonna be bailed out of my situation. And it's no way to think, it's no way to live. I had a good talk with my uncle today, a sober talk, which has not really happened a lot, aside from a couple mornings when he was in town or whatever. But it was a heart-to-heart and a little bit of tough love given to me by him, which it was definitely needed. And granted, I already made the decision that I was doing this as far as cutting out the drinking to get my mind focused again and get back on track. He brought up a point that he used to tell one of his sons, that you can't expect to run a company, you can't expect to, be at the top unless you're willing to sweep the floors and clean up the shit at the bottom. And that is where my life is. Aside from living in beautiful sunny Florida and having wonderful scenery to see, I am definitively at the bottom as far as my life is concerned. Granted, not smoking weed anymore does make me a lot clearer than I used to be, but I am definitively at the bottom for me as far as like where I've been in my life. I've gone through some rough times, we all have, but sitting here with less than $100 to my name and no current insurance on my car and facing the repo man, I finally sucked it up and had a phone call conversation with them, and essentially if they don't have 2 payments by the end of the month, which in reality is quite forgiving considering how far behind I am. If they don't have that by the end of the month, then it's repo time. So reality setting in that sooner than later I'm going to need to have positions that I can get to, or a job, whatever, that I can get to by my feet, by a bike, by a bus, preferably by feet. Or a short bike ride. I'll do what I gotta do, but I don't want to do like a fucking 40-minute bike ride anywhere, but a brisk walk, 15, 20-minute walk, 30-minute walk to work, and back home. I think that's probably right where I need to be. So that's a focal point for me in the next couple days, is to get a second job, bussing tables, hosting, if I'm lucky, serving, but whatever entry-level position I can obtain at a restaurant is what I'm going to take, and then work towards being able to serve or bartend. I've always been against bartending because it's too much drinks to learn, and you got to do all this, do all that, and it's like now is the time to tell myself to shut up and just suck it up and sweep the floors of my life, so to speak. Take out the shit and getting my shit together. I still have some applications out, like I said before, for a couple sales positions. And my uncle voiced his opinion on that, you know, to stop chasing the pie in the sky jobs, and I totally get that. I no longer look at ads online and like, you know, 100,000 first year. I don't look at that shit anymore, but there are a couple positions out there that are like 30K base, and, you know, if you do good, you'll reach 50 or 60. First year expected income, maybe 45 or 40, whatever. Like, I could do something like that and then still have a job in the evenings on my off, you know, nights, weekends, whatever, at a restaurant. The title of this video is Quitting Alcohol Day 1. And for those of you who may have stumbled on my page and don't know my history, feel free to go back and check all that out. But I guess the main focal point of this topic, and obviously no different than any of my videos, I just fucking rant and talk about whatever's on my mind. But alcohol has been my new escape coping mechanism, replacing weed. I feel like it's better than doing both weed and alcohol, but it's still not good, you know. Anyhow, using alcohol to curb the disappointment where I am, as opposed to going after life and taking it by the horns, the quote-unquote machine that I promise to be in the future. I still feel that I'm definitively going to be in the best shape of my life by the end of the summer. I know I will be. I have still been working out, but when I go and get, you know, a couple cheap beers at the end of the night to make me feel good, to make me escape from my current frustrations of lack of money and, you know, being behind on fucking everything and losing the car and all that fuck shit. I know you're tired of hearing of it. It doesn't do me any good. All it does is disconnect myself from my problem and not face it. I do have some good conversations with, you know, both my uncle and a couple close friends back in Atlanta in the evenings. So that's fun, but I'm not facing my problem. I put up those applications and I'm like, oh, something will pop, something will happen, instead of just going to go get it. And then couple with that, waking up in the morning and feeling groggy as shit and just bleh, and that's no way to start your day. It's no way to start my day, you know. So I'm tired of it, and it's time to get back to waking up with zest again. And if you go back to some of my videos back, you know, quitting weed day 19, day 20 or whatever, I was on a completely different level because I was also quitting alcohol. I had a couple slip-ups here and there, but I wasn't abusing it. And as of late, ever since the derailing video and the emotional shit from that and not being happy with work and blah blah blah, you know, I fucking went down a downward spiral all the way to the bottom. The effects of alcohol have played into my workout. So, you know, it's not that I haven't been working out. I still work out at least 3 times a week, more often 4 or 5 times a week. But you know, when I first started, I was doing something active every fucking day, even if it wasn't pushing weights every day. It was something active every day, and I have not been doing that. Also, the core workouts that I mentioned before, I avoid those. You know, when I go to the gym, it's like I do, you know, I don't know, 3 different stations or 4 different stations, 3 reps a piece, and then, you know, light cardio afterwards. And I push myself a little bit, but there's no regiment, and it's because I'm being lazy in every aspect of my life. And a lot of that is inside of me, and it's not to say that alcohol is the worst thing in the world, but I know that for me, detoxing from it and keeping my focus, staying on track, will allow me to, in the future, indulge on the occasional weekend, even if it is every weekend, 1 night every weekend, and occasionally 2 nights that weekend. It's not a big deal to have some drinks in those situations if you have your shit together, which I do not. So same thing with weed, you know, if you're using vices like that to cope and escape your problems, it's the most unhealthy thing that just leaves you going backwards instead of forwards. So, you know, I hate to say that I need to do this via YouTube the same way I did with weed, and perhaps I don't need to do that, but it works so well with weed and quitting weed and opening my eyes there that, you know, fucking don't try to fix something if it ain't broke or whatever the fuck. So that's the new move. Today's day 1, quitting alcohol. and I will be going back to uploading videos every day. They may not all be fucking cinematic, whatever the fuck, but I will hold myself accountable to upload a video every day, even if it's a short check-in. So this is the beginning of the rest. I will try to keep the updates of what I'm doing with jobs and shit to a minimum, but I will be talking about it because it's all part of the process. So anyone out there who is facing the same type of, you know, dealing with or using vices like alcohol or weed to cope with their shit, feel free to reach out to me. As I said before, when, you know, I was doing the quitting weed thing, I want to be there for anybody that's going through the same thing, obviously, in any way that I can. Comment your feelings, your emotions, or your struggles, or your successes in that field below. Let's engage. And you know, I was also thinking about the video. I was like, what should I do? Tell me what you guys think I should do. It's fucking stupid, man. I'm not gonna just fucking wake up tomorrow and be like, oh, I know what I gotta do for the rest of my life. It doesn't work that way. I'm not gonna find some glorious job. I mean, sure, there's a small chance I'll find some glorious job online, you know, and be like, oh, that's it, that's my fucking thing. But I can't wait for it any longer. So it's time to hustle, sweep the floors of my life, get this fucking ball rolling, and never look back. And as always, I know I got my haters out there, but now it's really, really time for Real Deal Field to shine. And I will be in the best shape of my life by the end of the summer. Hands down, there's no two ways about it. That's another thing. The last video, or one of the last videos I shot, I think it was yesterday's video, when I did a little pan over of me and my roommate talking, and I saw for the first time on my channel my full body shot, aside from a brief one before when I did a hyperlapse, whatever the fuck. I was like, damn, Phil, you lost all that weight, now you're putting it right back on, chubby chub. So time to stop it. The only way to maintain focus for me is to detox completely and get my shit together. Sorry for the long rant, but as always, I love you all. Real Deal out.
Programmed your brain. We programmed your brain.
I will make you understand.